You grew up believing that you were an ordinary person, believing that your family came from humble origins. But the story you were told is a lie. Centuries ago, paranoid kings and power-hungry dynasties tried to exterminate your bloodline. The royal blood flowing through your veins was not a privilege, it was a death sentence. And the surname you signed today is not merely a name. It was the absolute shield that ensured your survival when the guillotine and betrayal erased England's true heirs. Watch this video all the way to number 1, because the final surname on this list belongs to a bloodline so powerful, so pure, and so legitimate that, if history had unfolded only slightly differently on a blood-soaked battlefield, your family could be occupying the throne of London at this very moment. Number 10. Fitzroy. We begin at the edges of the crown. The prefix Fitz comes from Norman French, meaning son, and Roy means king. Literally, the son of the king. This was not a name given to peasants. It was the undeniable mark of royal bastards, men who carried the indisputable DNA of medieval English monarchs, but who were deprived of the throne by the laws of men and the politics of the court. If you carry this name or one of its branches, your ancestors possessed the blood of the great conquerors, walking through the halls of power, always being seen as a lethal and silent threat to the official succession. The crown tried to keep your bloodline in the shadows, forcing your ancestors into obscurity, but your royal blood is authentic, pulsating, and survived them all. Number 9. Beaufort. A name born from a castle in France, but one that became the military pillar of English royalty. The Beaufort bloodline began as the descendants of John of Gaunt, the powerful Duke of Lancaster and son of King Edward III. Later legitimized, the Beauforts carried a royal bloodline so strong and dangerous that the Wars of the Roses nearly wiped out their existence entirely. They were hunted across battlefields like large game animals. Men of purely noble blood, slaughtered to ensure that the rival dynasty could reign without opponents capable of raising armies. If your name is Beaufort, the blood of the House of Lancaster pulses within you, a warrior inheritance that endured and survived England's most violent political annihilation. Number 8. Courtenay. A name that echoes through the mists of Devon but conceals a direct and dangerous connection to the crown. The Courtenays mingled their blood with English and French royalty again and again, becoming so formidable and influential that the monarchy itself viewed them as a sword hanging over the throne. During the paranoid reigns of the Tudors, carrying this name meant sleeping with the executioner's sharpened axe at your front door. They were locked away in the Tower of London, exiled to inhospitable lands, and executed for fabricated treasons. But the seed of their bloodline refused to die in the dungeon. Carrying this name today is physical proof that your family's unwavering courage overcame the royal purge. Number 7. Neville. The bloodline of the kingmakers. In medieval England, the Neville family did not merely serve royalty. They decided with iron hands who wore the crown. Richard Neville, the Earl of Warwick, was the architect of thrones during the civil wars, installing and deposing monarchs through the sheer force of the sword. Because of their proximity and intertwined blood ties with the House of York, the name became a primary target for total extermination when the tides of war turned against them. Your surname carries the raw essence of absolute power. They tried to tear the Nevilles from the records of history and burn their banners, but you are here to prove that the dynasty that shaped kings could never truly be destroyed. Number 6. Stafford. Blue blood, pure and lethal. The powerful Dukes of Buckingham from the Stafford family possessed a royal bloodline so straight and direct to the ancient King Edward III that the ruling dynasty broke into a cold sweat merely at the whispered sound of this name. The ancestors of the Stafford family did not need to invent or forge a claim to the throne. The right flowed undeniably and hot through their veins. And because of that pure blood, they paid the ultimate price. Betrayed by allies, accused of non-existent conspiracies, and publicly beheaded, the Staffords watched their vast empires be torn apart and confiscated. But the bloodline survived in the shadows, concealing royal blood beneath the veil of ordinary lives. If you are a Stafford, you descend from royal martyrs who chose integrity over surrender. Number 5. Percy, the formidable lions of the north. Absolute rulers of the wild borderlands, the Percys were the human and brutal wall between England and Scotland. Their ancestors married into English royal blood and held military power that rivaled, and at times surpassed, that of the king himself in London. They led armed rebellions, crowned monarchs, overthrew usurpers, and spilled rivers of their own blood on brutal battlefields to preserve their independence. Carrying the name Percy means that your bloodline never accepted being ruled by anyone. You were born to govern the untamed North, and when the crown tried to silence you through betrayal and summary executions, your bloodline merely retreated strategically into the shadows, preserving a warrior DNA that no millennium could tame. Number 4. Tudor, the name that shattered and rewrote the Western world. Before becoming the dynasty that would rule with an iron fist through monumental figures such as Henry VIII and Elizabeth I, the Tudors were Welsh nobles fighting to survive. They rose to absolute power by walking over corpses and through the incalculable spilling of enemy blood. But with Elizabeth's death, the main line was declared extinct, and the majestic name plunged into the shadows of history. Yet the blood did not disappear. If you carry the rare variations of this name or descend from the hidden collateral branches that fled to survive after the fall, your blood contains the genetic code of Europe's most ruthless, feared, and revolutionary rulers. The throne of London was lost, but your bloodline continued to pulse, alive and undefeated. If your surname is validating the survival of your royal blood against absolute extermination, subscribe to this channel right now. We reveal the lethal secrets and the truths that official history was paid to conceal. Join us and understand once and for all whom you descend from. Number 3. Plantagenet. The absolutely forbidden name, the longest, bloodiest, and most formidable warrior dynasty in the entire history of England. For more than 300 years, the wild blood of the Plantagenets ruled the island with steel swords, empires beyond the sea, and lion hearts. After the violent rise of the enemy house, simply breathing and carrying the name Plantagenet was a crime punishable by the sharpened axe. The new king demanded the total and merciless extermination of every heir who walked the earth. Your grandmothers and grandfathers had to conceal their ancient coats of arms, alter their identities, and live under absolute psychological terror to escape uncontrolled persecution. But they kept the original fire within themselves. To have any link to this name is to carry the living essence of medieval crusaders and the eternal founders of the English nation. Number 2. York, the Immaculate White Rose, a house that fought bravely for the crown in a civil war that tore England in half. Men and women marked by blind courage, unforgivable betrayal, painful exile, and unquestionable royal blood. Richard III, the last monarch of the House of York, died fighting fiercely until his final breath on the battlefield of Bosworth. After the brutal fall of their king, anyone who carried the blood of the House of York was hunted like human prey, tortured in royal prisons, and eliminated by the country's new laws. To escape final annihilation, your bloodline abandoned the stone palaces, renounced the crowns, and blended into the misty landscape of England, and later, among the brave settlers of the New World. Your name is the physical and living testament that the true right to the throne refused to rot in the shallow graves of history. Number 1. Hastings. And here is the revelation of the supreme bloodline. The Hastings were not merely close to the crown. In reality, concealed by suppressed documents and bloody politics, they represented the legitimate crown. Their bloodline possesses ties so ancient, sacred, and powerful to the monarchs of the York and Clarence lines that historians point to a dangerous truth. Through legitimate marriages and unbreakable divine rights that were ignored by coup d'etat, the direct line of Hastings' descendants would, in fact, be the true and legitimate royal family of England today. A bloodline that surpasses by right of blood the very dynasty currently seated on the throne of London. If your name is connected to this majestic and secret family tree, you are not merely a survivor. You carry the hidden crown in your veins. False dynasties seized control. Power changed hands through brute force, betrayal, and lies, but the original royal blood prospered in obscurity. You are not a pawn cast into history. Today, carrying one of these rare surnames is breathing and undeniable proof that the executions, enemy swords, and guillotines of the usurpers failed. You possess more legitimate blood from England's great warrior kings in your veins than many of those who dominate the modern palaces. Take your rightful place in history. Go down to the comments right now. Write your surname. Claim your inheritance. Use this section not as an empty record, but as a definitive and proud manifesto that English royal blood was never extinguished. It merely waited for the right century to rule again.